Kia ora Illuminates, welcome back to our channel. We have just gone into the Set 8 Reign of JAFAR Set Championship season, and today Keiji and I will be talking about the meta currently, the decks that is currently popular right now, and the cards that you'll be looking out for. Since just over a couple of weeks ago, we have finally had the first ever Disney Lorcana World Championship, and we're going to be talking about a couple of the deck lists from there and what it means with the current meta. Since this video is going to be quite long, we have divided it in two parts, and we'll be releasing the second part by this weekend, so you have time to prepare for the set championship. For those of you who have already participated in your set championship, hope you guys did well. Do let us know in the comments how you guys went, and for people who haven't played yet, good luck. Before we get to the video, we want to say special thanks to Heavy Play.
Heavy Play offers TCG products with enhanced ergonomics. With their unique technology Equip Mag, carrying your deck box, dice box, and playmat together becomes a breeze by attaching to each other. With their curved corner sleeves, you will not have any upside down cards anymore and avoid any damage from the traditional sharp cornered sleeves. They now have the deck box storage as well as a playmat case available, both with Equip Mag, which means your belongings can stop rattling around in your bag. If you are interested in their product, make sure to visit heavyplay.com and use the code Inkwell to get 10% off your purchase.
Alright, let's start talking about their new season's metagame. After Set 8 released, we pretended we want to keep the deck we used to be using in the format. In other words, we were expected to see a lot of the new cards from Set 8, but just right after all the card list revealed, some people realized that there won't be so much changes in the metagame, and I think you are right about it. So after the Set 8 released, we had Disney Lorcana World Championship by Ravensburger. So 28 players invited.
So on 29th of June, we have finally had our first ever World Championship for Disney Lorcana. Dinkan Fam, known as DKP, is the first ever Disney Lorcana World Champion.
Woohoo! Congrats!
Yeah, we would like to congratulate him as well from our channel. He has actually won the DLC Melbourne to get his ticket to the World Championship, and from our Oceania players, I think some of us were rooting for him for sure. As a Ruby Sapphire player, I was definitely, so it was really good to see him play in a high level and then, play such a consistent deck as he usually does, and it was really great to see.
And don't forget about the Edmond Chiu. He was also in the finals, and he plays the amazing decks with the amazing tech, and I like him. So
another great player as well.
Yeah. So there are a lot of really good players who's already won in Disney Lorcana challenges. They brought actually 3 decks in this construction format.
From this World Championship, we had this tri-constructed deck. I don't know what you call it. Tri-color.
It's called a triple deck constructed.
Yeah, triple deck constructed. What it means is that obviously all 3 decks have to have a different ink color combination, so you're not allowed to use same ink color twice. As you guys would know, Disney Lorcana has 6 different ink colors, and the players have to choose which color combination that they want to make for their 3 decks. And personally, I thought it was a really good idea to decide the world champion that way. You can see which player could build decks with different color combinations and also the decks that they usually use, and still perform at such a high level. And as you could see in the final, Edmond Chiu against DKP was clearly something else, and it was really awesome to see.
To me, this format is actually really great at some point. So first one is so you have to use all those 3 decks in different color combinations, meaning you just bring only 1 deck to win the finals. And you have to show your creativity to the people. At the same time, you have to anticipate what type of the color combination deck the opponent will use.
Yeah.
And for now, we only have 8 sets, and it's just constructed. But in the future, if we have infinity format with this triple deck constructed,
for sure,
the combination will be it's literally infinity combinations. So. And I love the idea, Disney and Ravensburger brought this format into their world finals. Even you created the most powerful deck in the metagame, if your other two decks are quite weak enough, then you lose instantly. So
Yeah, for sure.
yeah,
I think it's really good to see a couple players playing such a different decks to what they usually play as well. It's just the
Right.
contrast was
Yeah.
pretty cool.
Mhm.
Some control deck players playing aggro decks and stuff like that was really interesting to see.
true. So that's what we are going to talk about next. Since the metagame wouldn't change that much, however, because of this format, so many pro players, they build a lot of the new decks, such as like Puppy deck, and also new type of the Shanzok, then Ruby Amber, like the hyper aggro type, but is still strategically categorized as kind of a mid-range deck. Then, and needless to say, perhaps you guys watched our video before, but we have one deck that we found, right?
Yeah.
We found Emerald Sapphire, and
Yes.
that's very interesting. Players can choose two colors the combination for one deck, and they build three decks. The color combination they wanted to avoid the most it was purple, right?
Yes, I think so, yeah. From what we saw, purple people avoided the most. I have a theory on this, purely because Amethyst is such a resourceful color, so that's the only one of the few colors that provides obviously a bounce package that's been in the metagames since set 2, and obvious card draws lies in purple. So for people to have purple being a combination with another color was quite important, and I think Sapphire is also another resourceful color where it provides you ramp and some card draw as well, and also being able to see what cards you might be getting next. So I think if you were to put blue and purple together and those two color combination gone, you are left with Steel, Emerald, Ruby and Amber. And I think for a lot of people who would be probably watching this, who's obviously looked into metagames and stuff, you can't really build a quite strong deck to go against other players with those 4 ink color combinations, especially in a scene like this. So a lot of people split those 2 ink color combinations.
There's other thing like so I built the tier makers, which is like ranking the color combinations, and then the most powerful deck in the metagame right now is Ruby Sapphire. I think like Ed, Chiu and DKP both choose to play Ruby Sapphire, and that's the color I wanted to keep the most. So if you choose one deck as a Ruby Sapphire, that's more likely like your next deck would be Amethyst plus something else. And another one would be really like aggressive deck, such as like Channel Color, Amber Emerald, or Amber Steel, which is like a more likely Diggy Hole type. And another one is like Discord or aka Diablos, Emerald, Amethyst, like it's quite aggressive deck as well. So like those decks are actually settled on the tier 2, which is like on second tier class. Those are still powerful.
For sure.
Yeah, even you have like you using like a Ruby Sapphire deck, but you really wouldn't like to face the hyper aggressive and Shanadog decks.
No, not usually, no.
yeah. It could be like a race deck that you want to see.
Yeah, I mean, especially with the new lady and the new tramp, it is a lot harder than it was as well.
Yeah. So Amber got the new card, and everyone knows the lady is powerful. So that like with the Amber color, the deck has to be really aggressive deck, and so that like any color combination with Amber would be aggressive deck.
Yep.
Then any color combination with Ruby would be like a control deck. It doesn't matter it's come with the Sapphire or Amethyst, but it will be like keeps the playing a little bit behind to do like some counter attack with the Shark, because Shark is needless to say, but like it's obviously one of the most powerful card in Lorcana at the moment.
And for sure, I think when you do the tricolor deck construction, if you obviously have Ruby and Sapphire as your color combination, the color that you'll probably be afraid the most is Steel. Purely because along came Zeus and Strength of Raging Fire could take down your Tamatoa, Maui Hiroto, as well as Maui Shark. And those 3 cards are the cards that you want to keep on board to try to gain advantage over and over. And without the Steel Strong removal, it's not as scary. If the Amethyst cards or obviously the opponent Ruby cards were come at you, then it's a 1-to-1 trade, so it doesn't feel as bad. Where if they were singing these songs that I have just mentioned, it does feel a little bit slow or tempo loss at times, and especially when they're playing Pete as well. You might not be able to make it in time with Be Prepared. So
True.
I think that's why a lot of people were finding Ruby Sapphire color combination more strong, as well as the Amethyst decks. And if the Steel decks were mainly banned for a lot of people, then I think majority of people either teamed up the Steel Song deck as for their card for their deck to be banned for the opponent, and for you to be able to have the Ruby, Sapphire, and Emerald and Amethyst cards that you can make your deck with, which what we have seen from like a lot of the top 8 card people. Okay, so let's look at top 2 players' decks, and we're gonna start with obviously DKP's Ruby Sapphire deck that he's famously known for, I guess.
But from what I can analyze, he predicted a lot of the streets against Ruby Sapphire. So there's obviously like there's 2 types of the card choices telling me that like he's prepared for 2 deck types. And one choice of the cards is Brawl. He put like a couple of the Brawl cards, and also he put like 2 sets of the Hideaway. Putting Chiu and Brawl is kind of the same reason with the answer against the hyper aggro decks. But all the other cards are pretty much the same, apart from Hades and the Marine Carpentback. I like those choices. I think like Tai already knew about how this deck works, but I'm gonna break down a little bit. Okay, Tai, which card you like the most to play Ruby Sapphire?
Tipo.
Tipo, right, okay, yeah.
Yep.
Tipo is one of the strongest cards, true.
Tipo is MVP.
Yeah, true. And there's like at least like 4 legendary cards, 4 different types of legendary cards in this deck. Which one you prefer to finish the game?
You usually end up finishing the game with Maui Shark for sure.
Maui Shark, sure, yeah. Do you think like why there's Hades in this deck?
Hades are definitely there purely because there are a couple of threats that you can't remove with Sisu. So because of Sisu's ability, you can only remove opponent cards with 2 strength or less. Some cards would remain and might finish the game, and Hades is a very, very simple 1-to-1 trade if the opponent card doesn't have ward. So you will definitely be playing Hades more if the opponent is using more Steel or Amethyst type decks, because their strength tends to be higher. And obviously you can just 1-to-1 trade Maui Shark off as well with just a Hades card, and also Hero Tool if you need to get it going.
As Tai already mentioned, right, and also the reason for why DKP choose Hades as a utility card, one singlet. And there's another one singlet card which is called like Marine's Carpetbag. The first time I checked the card was when the time it was released, and second time when I saw it in the tournament I think it was in Germany. There's like a lot of the Steel Sapphire players before the banning list, which is like on the Hiram and Fourth Sphere brand. A couple of players using Marine Carpetbag to keep the popsicles draw advantages. They activate the Marine's Carpetbag again and again and bring back the popsicle, healing the Maui, drawing additional cards. That seems really like powerful to me.
It's a Hiram on an item form. And slightly not as crazy advantage. But you need to be, because Hiram is gone, this deck needed a quite big answer for you to be able to have options as you used to. So the reason that this used to be on the top of the meta for a really long time was the amount of options that you had at all times. So for you to cover that, obviously DKP will never run any smaller copies of Vision of the Future, Develop Your Brain, JAFAR, or Popsicle, because those are the staples. Then I think because he understood that some games might go a little bit longer or shorter depending on the times, and he needs to go to those answers quickly, he does have the Merlin Carpetbag. And obviously, because if he was facing a faster deck, Tamato will definitely be questing and playing this item for free anyway, and I think that's my guess. So you are able to search through quickly because there's no way that you're gonna have time for you to pay 5 ink for this item. But yeah, it's solid. Reason why you can still run 2 copies of Hideaway, 2 copies of Brawl, 2 copies of Sisu, and 1 copy of Hades is because you are digging through your deck a lot more and trying to find answers at all times.
So this deck is actually have a lot of answers against the opponent streets, and to find those cards, like to access those like end game cards, the deck has to be utilized itself into the like one shape. So that's why there's a lot of like right actions, which is develop your brain or save the Azurite Sea, and also the like follow up with the Vision of the Future and the Popsicle exist. Then they instantly access like during the beginning of the game and middle of the game, the end of the game. I think like DKP always like able to access all the answers in his deck unless you are really unlucky. And to win the game, like well, we are not going to describe every single of the mechanism of this archetype. However, they're like simply this deck is like utilized to finding the answer, gaining the lore, and removing the opponent's streets easily. Those like 3 contents all in one package, and that's what it called Ruby Sapphire at the moment. Since we talk about Ruby Sapphire, let's see the other side of the Ruby Sapphire with Edmond Chiu. But his approach is slightly different from DKP. DKP always running Ruby Sapphire deck, and he really loves those. But Edmond Chiu is like he's a smart guy that he knew that how to deceive their opponents' like expectations. And his deck is more likely a little bit slow but classic 8 Tamator item deck. That's his deck.
It looks really similar to when Set 5, Set 4 championships were happening with those cards looking really, really familiar. Some old faces.
Since the DKP deck to find every answers in his deck, this Ed's Ruby Sapphire is more likely focused on the Tamator, and then sometimes like you can suppress the opponent by using Sisu. So Sisu is the kind of the answer against the opponent's streets, and the Tamator is the card to which can finish the game. All the follow-up cards are utilized into that strategy. The thing that I found this deck is significantly powerful is because Scrooge McDuck, he can be so shy in this deck. It's because you just exert all of your items and to play him for free. And I can't be so sure, like after turn 5, you can see the free Scrooge McDuck easily if the situation is kind of like ideal condition. But also at the same time, like Scrooge is Vision of the Future in this deck. Like he still kept Vision of the Future, but he cut those other cards to develop your brain or hide away. But he kept those like card finding cards, which are Scrooge McDuck and the Vision of the Future, and also the Popsicle, following up with Maurice's Workshop to draw additional cards.
I think comparing the 2 Ruby Sapphires, it's quite clear what one side does and what the other side does. DKP's list is quite clear that all the cards are to ramp, and then when you get to that stage, you are looking for answers to control over and over. And when there's nothing there coming back, you are putting cards that the opponent have to either send 2 of their cards or more than 2 of their cards to deal with. So you are gaining more card advantages later on, and then you are closing the game off with big cards like obviously Sisu or Maui Shark gaining so many laws from actions, or obviously Pirate's Life and McDuck Mana, where this side, it doesn't even have Be Prepared, no Pirate's Life, no McDuck Mana. Your winning condition is very much so putting cards out that, yes, somewhat ramps early, but then you are more focused on using the items and a couple of the cards to remove opponent threats, and when they don't have enough cards to deal with your characters, then your item's just gonna start doing all the work that's needed anyway, and you are waiting for you to draw your final Tamator and then just gaining your last law there and then finishing the game. So it's a very, very different Ruby Sapphire decks.
Yeah, both of them approaching and starting from the like accelerated inks by playing the Azurite C and Tipo. But to end the game is totally different, and then Ed Chiu's deck is like precisely like a focus on Tamator and Shiz. Shiz can be slowing down the opponent, then Tamator can finish the game. So the opponent has to think about what cards in Chiu's hand, but it's really hard to predict. It's because like there's full set with Tamator and Schist is already inside the deck, and there's other cards which can answer the opponent card easily, which is like there's like Sapphire color combinations in this deck. So any small Schist and Brawl combo combination can be work. And then when you're slow enough, then Tamator appears like really quickly on turn 6.
I really like how this deck gives you an option of having Bell turn 1 to keep majority of the aggro decks in place, where DKP's one, I think it's the only answer they would have had would have been the Grand Matala or the obviously Brawl. But then in this one, turn 1 Bell is possible, turn 2 you can ramp, play another item, maybe Vitalisphere, turn 3 you can play Sisu, removing another aggro character, then giving challenger for Bell or rushing Sisu into something.
With the Bell, I believe.
Yeah, it's fast. You can control that at the start very quickly, and then you can just keep removing it from there, to be honest, and then your opponent's not going to be able to come back. They're not going to get to 20 by the time you're going to reach big Sisu. So it's really nicely made deck, to be honest. It controls majority. Obviously, if you were to use this deck, you would be banning a lot of the steel cards out, because whole new world will hurt a lot, and obviously Along Came Zeus and also other hand removal cards will hurt a lot. But other than that, there's not many cards that can deal with this list, so it makes sense that he ended up in such a high position.
So sure, like both of the players, like they practiced a lot against or anticipated a lot against the hyper aggro. Ed's approach is more likely like putting the Bell and playing Shisu or Brawl to slow them down. And warding DKP's option is like accelerate first, then clear the field with some answer like Kramator and Maui, then figure out like how much a pirate's life he can play on the field. Or otherwise like start with Magdak Manor to start racing. So Edmond Chiu choose Amber Steel deck and the Amethyst Emerald deck. That's his choice. Yeah, those are his choices. And then DKP choose Amber Emerald and Steel Amethyst for his own. What we can see is like both of them are really good deck builder, deck constructor, that they anticipated the most of the situation, what types of cards exist in the field, and then what types of options they can choose. They thought about it really carefully. So DKP's option is mid-range and hyper aggro, whereas like Edmond Chiu is like also aggro and mid-range deck. Let's talk about the Ed's Amber Steel deck. As we all like anticipated, there's a couple of new cards in this Steel Song deck, and one of that is Wino.
For sure. I mean, it's probably arguably the best card from the new set, to be honest. We have done video on it as well, and it's very, very clear how powerful it is. When it shifts on turn 2, there's nothing that can currently remove it now. So makes sense.
Here's a threat card. And then another card was Namari. Namari was, I think it was the most expensive card before the set released. Everyone anticipated a lot for this card. And so 3 cards are actually the new cards in his deck. And simply, as I said, like I believe Edmond, he chose those cards as a mid-range deck player. Like I can say that he like fortified this Amber Steel deck with those new cards, and then I believe that's enough for like his strategy. What I can say is people probably thought about like why there's 8 cards of 5 inkable costs, like Beast and Namari, and why they're like for Ariel, which is like Sonic Singer in it. And simply I can answer that like on this deck is literally mid-range deck, but also can beat any type of aggressive deck. This deck is particularly strong against the hyper aggro deck. It's because simply on turn 1 and turn 2 you can access most of the song, because we have like a singers and shift characters, and you can fill your hands with the Beast and Rapunzel with Namari, and those cards are like simply overpowered after the turn 5 to 6. That's the simple reason like this deck has this. And Ariel she's insane. That when you have like at least 1 or 2 songs, you can sweep most of the cards on the board, even Tamator.
I mean, there's no
Yeah.
5 cost or more songs anyway, so you
Yeah.
can clearly tell that the Ariel is just the action song searcher, and all the characters that comes out beforehand is the ones that will be mainly singing songs. So I think that's where this deck is mainly looking at gaining advantage on.
And yeah, this deck is like simply has one switch strategy. Single song removes the character quest.
I mean, if all the cards that is above 4 ink cost is very, very good stuff in this deck, so
True.
makes sense. Namari, Beast, Rhino, Rapunzel, Ariel, and also Eden Alone came Zeus. There's just all really, really good cards that you can't really complain.
So Ed's third choice was Amethyst Emerald. This deck is like full with Diablos, but Ed also put 2 different types of new cards, which are Pull the River and the Long River. Yeah.
I think this archetype was initially really popular when the Arceus Island came out, if I remember correctly, with the 16 Diablo. Yeah, it's pretty crazy, but I mean, it would work, to be honest.
Simply, in the previous season, this deck has like the obvious like weakest point. After you got the advantages with Diablo, how you finish the game, it's because the lore gain is still slow. The only cards which can provide like 2 roars in 1 turn would be Genie, and everyone knows about the like if you have Ruby color in your deck, then Diablo and Genie are the target of the brawl. And since after like the Ruby Amethyst evasive deck getting popular, this archetype also thinking about like we should make the combination with Peter Pan as well. So that's why this Diablo deck also has a lot of like the Peter Pan and Iago back up with the Cricky and Ulcer.
I almost feel like debate for brawls as well. Because I know Peter Pan is quite annoying if you can't take it down.
Yeah.
And you probably do want to brawl it because Iago coming straight to you is quite rough. If obviously Steel was banned as well.
And at the same time, like those evasive characters are quite powerful with Cricky. Because after sweeping the ball, they won't be challenged by the opponent character unless they have the evasive. Evasive actually can dominate their like the constructed Peter Pan's combination. Needless to say that, but also like this Peter Pan combination brought different types of strengths to this deck, which because simply in previous season, this correct combination is not able to like challenge unless you have the Marine in your hand. Marine Crab in your hand. But now like you can combine simply like play the Peter Pan and Iago and sweep in the board, then start questing with the other characters. So those like Long River and the Pulse River are those are combination cards. Yeah.
I love those 2 cards being in this deck. It's awesome.
Yeah. So Pulse River is a card like which can give you the advantages or like a disadvantage to the opponent. Draw 2 cards, like it has a like effect.
Basically friends on the other side, except you can't sing it.
Yeah. And also like the one discard card, but like it's more likely a combination with like Sudden Chill and the friends on the other side, but you cannot sing. Then Long River, it became very powerful. The first ability that it has is like just bouncing back the chosen character to their owner's hand. But the second one, like if you already play the Pull the Lever, then you can like exile that character onto the bottom of their decks, and that's simply like one of the most powerful like removal actions in the metagame if you feel those like restrictions.
For sure.
So under that situation, Long River is very powerful. Otherwise, like it can throw the opponent down, especially like when they try to finish the game with Tamator or Marisher. This card like can simply delay them and simply giving you additional turn. So that's why I believe Edmond like he puts those like a full set of those rivers in the deck.
Yeah.
And yeah, I believe like that's all the patterns and about those decks. Simply bounce back, gaining the roar, discard them, taking the options from the opponent, then finish the game. That's this Diablo deck. Then we're gonna talk about the opponent, which is DKP. Yeah, including Tai. You guys really surprised that he didn't put any new cards.
Yeah, I think DKP's list was quite defined already before the new set came out, and I think from what we have seen at the start as well, Keiji, set 8 cards haven't really offered us many great additions. And as we were saying, obviously the Rhino and probably the Namari has been the most eye-catchy one, to be honest. And now no other colors had a significant meta-defying card from this set. So I think that's why he kept it quite the same to how he would have built in the set 8. Set 7, sorry.
Yeah, from set 8, especially about the Steel Amethyst, they haven't got much cards from set 8. Instead of putting the new cards in this archetype, DKP actually approaches in a different way. He put actually the old cards from set 4, which is Yenshit, into this deck. And because of that, this deck changed the shape into a lot of more likely focus on the lower gains.
Yep.
So simply when you play Magic Flame on turn 1 and the Yenshit on turn 2, which can give you additional curse, then you play another Broom on the turn 3 and Quest, then that's gonna be really insane. It's gonna be really speedy. And then simply his deck is this Steel Amethyst deck is simply focused on that strategy. And it's just one of the options. It's because this color combination already has a lot of the really good turn 1 drops, which are Shanavog Force, Diablo, and Magic Room, and they're following up with Mr. Sumi and Madame Mim Snake with Yenshit. So it's stable. Most likely I say, it's stable.
For sure.
Yeah, and also the size is different. With the backup with Madame Mim and Marine Crab, you can take down the opponent threats in our turn. Then fire the cannons also, he gonna play that action when he plays their second. Against the aggressive deck, fire the cannons can remove a lot of the cards without losing the tempo.
And I think possibly opponent Iago as well, because this one doesn't have anything to deal with in a Iago if there was to come. So you can just have as 1-for-1 answer almost, because Strength of Raging Fire feels a bit of a waste on Iago.
So without losing the tempo that you can remove the opponent cards, simply those cards can fulfill the dream.
People say it's the most spiciest one out of all.
Right, yeah, let's talk about that deck. Amber Emerald, and why people would call this deck is spicy, Tyson?
I would say because it's got a couple cards that people aren't really playing at the moment. In any meta scene, to be honest. I'm definitely seeing 4 copies of full set cards that just does not really get played in this archetype, and I think that's what excited a lot of people.
Right. There are a lot of the cards that we should talk about. But simply say why there's those card choices actually can find the answer for another question. Why there's no Ready in it? Ready is one of the most powerful cards which released from this set. People simply start using that. And I think most of the people still using that card. So why is no Ready? It's because Ready can be removed by the actions such as fire the cannon. You can simply see that when the Steel Amethyst facing those Amber Emerald, one of the target is the fire the cannon's target is Arias cards such as Customer Folk or Fret. But also, or maybe Pegasus. But also those cards can take down the Ready easily. And the reason he didn't put the Ready in this aggro deck is because simply that card is not reliable. Why? Why it's not reliable? He has a Piglet in it, and those color those combination would be great. People would say that. But one thing you should think about when you build the aggro deck, your calculation, your formula to gain the lore became really simplified and different. For instance, maybe we're going to talk about the deck in the future, but the Daisy deck can answer at least 4. Customer Folk probably 4. Fred, if you're lucky enough, 3 or 4, and Little at least 2. Pegasus at least 2. That's what you can how you should think about when you building the aggro deck. Yeah, Piglet would be just 3. As you can see, the Daisy deck is much more powerful, and that's why he put Baru and Junao deck to keep them alive a little bit longer. Yeah, and the Junao deck and Baru can answer most of the situation when the opponent already put a lot of the like character cards on the field. Like you can simply try not to use their bodyguard ability, and you can use it the next turn, and you can still gain the lore. But when you have the ready, and you really don't have any cards with like the cost with 2 or less, then ready would be the dead card. You spend 3 inks, but you can only earn 2 lore, and most likely it could be 0 lore, then that card is not reliable. And that's why DKP choose Hera and Just Sam and Prince Philip to fill in those spots. I believe like not so many players playing Hera and Just Sam before. And what's their significant point is simply, ward.
Yeah, one of the strongest keywords in the game still, of course.
Ward. So unless you exerting your card, those cards can be like standing and just wait for the questing. Those cards can guarantee you at least 2 roars. And that's what DKP needed the most when he built it.
I mean, there's only 3 colors that can deal with ward situation still anyway, which is obviously the Shift Sisu and Be Prepared and Grab Your Swords. So
plus I'd say there's some cards which is you can see in their item deck, Under the Sea.
Oh yes, Under the Sea. But yeah, obviously a lot of the steel decks were banned in this, and a lot of people weren't running Grab Your Swords anymore. It hasn't been common since probably set 4 championship time. And Ruby decks, for them to play Sisu or the Sisu or the Be Prepared takes a really long time anyway. So if you were to play these ward cards and then quest the last law, that is usually the game, to be honest.
And follow up with Sven. Sven can ready your character and they cannot quest, but also this card is an additional different type of the bodyguard for the ward character, so that like this card will help them to survive on the next turn as well. Simply Sven can guarantee additional 2 roar if you already have the ward character. That's simple. So this deck is first enough, but also this deck can finish the game later on when the opponent has a lot of the removal actions. Now we can see like how do we build the deck for like triple constructed. But if I would attempt, I probably gonna use like the most of the people would choose a bench deck, including steel card deck, most likely stay in the back. And in that case, my color combination choices would be Bravo, which is Sapphire Amethyst, which is unlikely like the usual people, but that would be the first one. Bravo would be the first one. The second one would be Shanado color, which is Amber Emerald color. It's because like this deck can be built hyper aggro, and I like that. The third one is a kind of a bit spicy, but it's Ruby Steel.
Nice.
So yeah, Ty mentioned about that, and after like Ty mentioned about that, I immediately remembered that my color combination can answer this ward deck. It's because Ruby Steel deck is only deck which can have the character which can challenge their lady characters. So some of the steel character such as like Namari and Arthur, or some like Ruby Steel character, Lishan, are able to challenge those characters, and that color combination is particularly strong against those hyper aggro deck.
Yeah, don't forget the new Mulan as well.
So those cards are every single one of them. What about you, like Tyson? If you attending those World Championship, what color combination you would choose?
I think I would play Ruby Sapphire. It's probably what I'm most confident with and comfortable with. The other color combination would be a bit of a tricky one, to be honest, because my other color that I play with is Blurple, and obviously they'll be taken at that point. But I think I would go with Emerald Amethyst and go for more of a bounce control type of deck. I would love to use obviously the 2 Inkborn Ursula. Remembering Songs feels super strong right now, with obviously Steel Song being strong and the turn 1 Bell. And I think playing Gogo Tamako to gain the last bit of lore is quite nice in that deck, so would love to try that, which leaves me with the Amber and Steel last color, which will be just a generic Steel song, I guess. Or I could play Diggy, depending on how I'm feeling with the other decks. But
Yeah. Those 3 decks are literally the one like very top tier meta decks, so I totally get it. Yeah.
Just stable, really.
Yeah, stable really.
I'm just not good enough of a player to do anything spicy. Just keeping it simple, keeping it strong.
Like
Cards can do their work, and then I'll just autopilot. That's what I would do.
Ruby Sapphire is actually such a powerful card combination that I would like to choose too. But yeah, for some reason.
I mean, Blur Ball's great right now too. I feel good playing Blur Ball and local scenes right now, as well as the Ruby Sapphire. So both
it's
really strong
in
decks.
the dress. So yeah, I like to deceive the opponent expectations.
For sure. Okay, so we have obviously covered Edmond, Chiu, and DKP's top 2 players tricolor decks, but we also wanted to pick up a couple of the decks that we thought was quite interesting, being used in a top, like, high level, as well as seeing a couple of the new cards that we have been introduced since reign of JAFAR. Our first list is Lukas Kaupa's Amber Ruby deck. Keiji, what do you think of this list?
So this deck is actually kind of the brand new deck. It's a different cards combination, which unlikely we're gonna see in the Star Champion set. But it is a solid, and it is quite fast, and they put a lot of the new cards. Yeah, I love the deck list with the new cards. So he challenged, and it's kind of challenging list. I love it.
I think traditionally this ink combination would have run the Mufasa card from set 2 and hitting the big control cards that Ruby had earlier on to control the board was what it was popular, but it doesn't have Mufasa and it looks quite fast.
It's really fast, actually. So this deck starts with 8, actually 10 turn 1 drop cards, and end up with turn 5 card, which is like a Darling Deer. Then simply the deck has mainly 2 strategies, focusing on gaining the roar in the earlier stages, and if the opponent is slow enough, finish the game with Flynn Rider with his combination. If the opponent is fast enough, then you will be answer with Prince John and Goofy. That's simple. This deck is simply quest and challenge with rush characters and quest the game. And how you win the game? It's because simply all the time, since after the first chapter released, everyone's still using this card, Rapunzel. So Rapunzel will provide a lot of cards in this deck, especially the combination with the Mother Gothel, needless to say, and also the Prince, then Prince John. Those cards are really powerful enough. With Rapunzel, Shisu and Minimars are the options.
I think Flynn Rider could be used in this list, obviously, because they would have been Steel if you were to play this deck. Because obviously no strength, no Storm Rage on. It's just easier for Flynn to survive. If you're not exerting Flynn, then the chance of Flynn being removed is probably the earliest. I would say is Elsa rushing into it. So you are able to gain those laws quite quickly. So it's really well thought out list, to be honest. It's quite nice.
True.
And you can definitely tell why it would work as well.
Let's move on to another one. So another one list is Amber Sapphire, played by Elie, Vepierre. Hope I'm pronouncing him right. So his deck is so-called a puppy deck. It's because simply they had a lot of puppy cards in it, like Patch, and other one is so-called like a Thunderbolt.
Mm-hmm. And I guess they are technically saying Lady as well.
Yeah, Lady has that one too. Yeah. Duke Wurzelton and Ludwig von Drake is not, they are not like the puppy cards, but they share something in common, and also including Zipper and Wendy Doring. Those card choices are the same reason DKP choose the word character in his deck. So this color combination has also like accelerated since after the set 8 released. One of the reasons like I would play this color combination could be like a Ludwig von Drake. Simply
such a powerful card.
Yes, it's a powerful card. Yeah. Simply like he can remove one of the action card from the opponent. Then when he banished, then he would be put into the Inkwell instead of like the discard pile, and that's actually helping this archetypes like the speed. I'm so sure like this deck often struggle about like providing the ink.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's because Digidak, Patch, and Ludwig himself, then the Aris. Those cards are like quite powerful. You like to play, but they cannot be put into the Inkwell. So yeah, Ludwig actually filling the space for on turn 2. Tendency there's no such powerful cards in this card combination, but he's filling that space. So that's why Elie put those cards into here. The other part I would mention is like Aris. Again, like needless to say about that, but like we already knew that the Aris is a powerful card, and everyone think the steel color combination would be great, but triple deck constructed. But Sapphire is probably one of the possible way to make the deck stable and keeps the other powerful color combination for your options, like Ruby colors and Amethyst colors. It's not combined with this color combination, so you can keep your own personality color for the other decks, and Amber Sapphire can be filled their third place. So probably after the rotation, we might gonna see this color combination more often. It's because I believe like the Daisy Duck and Aris will still on. Yeah, I think they are on the scene right after the rotation.
The only card that's getting rotated out is Piglet and the Ana that gains extra gold for hero.
Right.
All the other cards are very new. Oh, actually, as well as Wendy Darling.
Wendy Darling, right? Yeah.
Oh, and Rapunzel, sorry.
Yeah. Wendy
so
Darling
there are
doesn't
actually quite a
much problematic, but Rapunzel might be.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
I believe so many people really wanted to keep her in the metagame even after the rotation. It's because they favor.
To be honest, a lot of the cards that are staple in this deck doesn't rotate out, so it might be an ink color combination that Ravensburger is trying to push to more players being played. I mean, like a lot of it Von Drake, right? Like it was such a random card to get in this color combination, but we got it in the last set.
True.
Maybe it is some direction that they're wanting to take. Who knows? But I guess we'll find out.
Yeah, we'll figure it out. Like, finger crossed for their Fable return. Rapunzel might be reprinted. People can still play it.
I don't think so. I don't think so.
Yeah, I don't buy that too.
From what I have seen and what I have heard, I don't think so.
Yeah. Well, Rapunzel was the face of the like first chapter, so they might gonna introduce another face, like a front face. Maybe the other princess which were not like which were not used in the scene, like Tiana. Or
Pocahontas.
Pocahontas, yeah.
Snow White as well.
Why don't you brought the other princess then? Yeah, why not? For sure, yeah.
And Aurora.
Aurora.
so many princesses that we haven't seen in use as much.
Aurora and Rapunzel, they became like legendary a couple of times, and even like Cinderella as well. But for some reason like they haven't seen.
Yeah, the only princess that we have seen used a lot is just Belle, Cinderella, and
Belle,
Rapunzel.
Cinderella, Rapunzel, and Elsa.
Yeah.
People forgot.
Yeah,
but
and Elsa. But Elsa's
used to be my
technically a queen.
She's
so
a kind of the queen.
She's on another level.
Yeah. So those are the decks we saw in this the new meta game. There's other couple of cards like on the steel card. There's a card called Vinny in the steel song. We can see that sometimes. We can even see that in the Amethyst Steel deck. But there's also what we can say is to lap up this world championship, we can say only few cards from the set 8 appeared, and there's not so much changes we could see in the metagame. However, all the attendees really carefully constructed all those decks, so when you analyze it, please consider about the reason of their choices. Then you might gonna understand why they built this deck instead of putting a lot of the new cards. Yeah. To be honest, using the new card is actually the fun, and if that is those are powerful enough, that's gonna be more fun. But
for sure,
as a former,
it might not be the case.
Yeah. As a former competitive player, I'd also say that you should really be careful about what choices you would be made for bring some construction decks, especially if you can brought 3 of them, then the story could be different. This triple deck construction, this format is actually restricted the people's thought. If you really don't have to be really competitive, or if you don't have to follow those rules, you might be find a new curse or a new potential curse and put them into your deck. Or if you love some, if you are very fond of some one card combination, such as if that is tied, Ruby Sapphire, right? Ruby Sapphire would be a good combination. So you probably try to figure out which cards are the best for your deck. That's what you would consider. But their competitive player have to look around and they have to restrict their thoughts. They want to use some fun card, but still they have to win the game. So that's why they change the deck shape. Yeah.
Alright, Keiji, so we have looked at a couple of the World Championship decks, and it's quite cool to see such a new format, and obviously a couple of the decks that obviously we're not really familiar with all these players using, because they have to obviously build the decks that they don't usually play with or they don't usually take to the tournaments with. So that was really cool to see. But I do have to say that wasn't many set 8 cards. Even though from the new set I'm quite excited with obvious cards like Rhino and Amber, 3 ink cost Lady, as well as the Goofy and also Lilo, and also in the last deck list we talked about Ludwig von Drake as well. Why do you think that was the case in this World Championship?
It's because this triple deck constructed format. This format actually restricts people's mind. It's because what you have to consider is building your own best deck, but at the same time there's a restriction in it, and there thought binds to some competitive regulation rather than making something some creativity. I already say this format can provide you the chance to showing your creativity, but at the same time, as a competitive player, you should really have to think about how to win the game with these correct combinations. So that's why instead of using the new mechanism, they choose some cards which suits to the strategy they choose. So, and that's why there's not so many new cards appeared on this World Championship.
I guess also at the same time as well, they had to consider the ban that each player did get as well. So it was 2 almost filters of restrictions, where the color combination was the one thing, and balancing out those 3 different decks was that main part, and then the other part was obviously the ban that was coming through. So I guess that would have been a huge factor considering the deck building, and also your ink choices
well, the choice has been made, and they played very well. However, there's not so much like a surprise for you guys. Not yet at the moment. But other than that, like all the decks were really carefully constructed. And I love their idea of the format, as well as the players like who attended.
Sure, I would love to play this format just for fun. It looks really cool.
True.
It looks really cool. I wonder if any tournament or any local set championship might just do that for the finals. Who knows? It's just a kind of cool thing to see. I guess it's very non-cost efficient and time efficient way, but as a card gamer, it looks really cool. Speaking of set championships, set 8, the Reign of JAFAR is going into a set championship season, and we are going to be covering a couple of the decks that we believe that's going to be good for set championships in your local scene, as well as a couple of the new cards that we think it will be quite good addition to the existing meta decks from the new set.